During dinner, my daughter whispered, "We need to leave now. You didn't look under the table." At first, I thought she was joking, but her face, pale, frozen, like she'd seen something she wasn't supposed to. My heart sank before I even moved. I bent down slowly, my knees stiff, my stomach already in knots, and then I saw it. A small folded piece of paper wedged near the table leg like someone didn't want it found. I reached for it, but my daughter snatched it before I could touch. Her hands were trembling. She glanced at it for barely a second before whispering, "We're leaving." We left in silence. No arguments, no goodbyes. My husband and I mumbled something about a migraine, but no one really listened. My sister didn't even look up from her plate. Typical. In the car, I asked, "What was that note?" She hesitated, then holding it up like it burned her fingers, she whispered, "It's my password." I blinked. "Dear what?" "My password?" She said again to my work account. "It's written in Grandma's handwriting." My blood ran cold. Emma works in law. Serious high-profile cases. She never writes down her credentials ever, but here it was written in her grandmother's unmistakable cursive big loopy letters. "I've seen on every birthday card and shopping list since I was a kid," she whispered. "I don't know how they got it. I never told anyone. I never wrote it down, but I started already knowing the answer." "I think they watched me log in," she said. "Maybe they had a camera set up." By the time we got home, she was already on her laptop, cold-faced, laser-focused. I didn't dare interrupt. And then she froze. "This is bad," she said. "I know what they did." She didn't explain. She didn't need to. That password, it was her work laptop, not her personal one. Her account had been used to access a sealed custody file, one she had no reason to open. One tied to my sister's ex-husband. Emma was out to lunch with my parents yesterday. Meanwhile, someone had used her laptop, her account, her name, to access confidential legal data. She showed me the log, day, time, her user ID, and the file that had been downloaded. "Mark's file," she whispered. "My aunt's ex-husband. I wasn't even assigned to his case. I felt like the floor was tilting under me." "They invited me over just to get into my laptop," she said almost too calmly. The next day, we went back to confront them. "My daughter didn't wait. You used me," she said. You took me out to lunch so she could break into my account." My father crossed his arms. My mother gave one of those tired, disappointed looks only she can manage. She just needed to see what he was saying. She said, "Emma didn't flinch. You stole from me. That file wasn't yours, and now it's tracked to me." They blinked, confused, like they couldn't see the weight of what they'd done. "You're overreacting." My mother finally said, "It's just a job for her. It's her son." I stepped forward, my voice cold. "This job is her future, and you put all of it at risk for her." They didn't deny it. They didn't even apologize. Later that night, Emma opened her phone. "I recorded it," she said, "just in case." She hit play. My parents' voices played back clear as day, confirming everything. She emailed it to her firm. No body text, just the file. Then she closed her laptop and sat silently. A few days later, the consequences came fast. My sister was arrested for violating her restraining order. Turns out she used the address from that confidential file to find her ex. My parents tried to cover for her again, but Emma had already reported the breach. Her firm launched an investigation. Everything checked. Out. She was reinstated with full support. As for my parents, they were added to the court record, labeled as hostile third parties. No visitation rights, no contact, no more pretending they cared. I haven't spoken to them since. I sent one message before I blocked their numbers. "Don't ever contact my daughter again. You've lost that right." They wanted access. They wanted control. And they got it until Emma found the truth under the table. But now they don't get to have her. The moment my daughter whispered, "We need to leave now. You didn't look under the table," something inside me snapped. How had I missed this? How long had they been watching us, manipulating us from the eye? Shadows? The cold weight of the folded paper in her hands felt heavier than any secret I'd ever carried. Back in the car, the silence was suffocating. My mind raced, piecing together what Emma had discovered. My parents, people I once trusted, implicitly, had orchestrated a covert breach of my sister's professional life. This wasn't family loyalty. It was deliberate sabotage. At home, watching Emma work through the night, her face a mask of focused fury, I realized the depth of their betrayal. Emma's work was her sanctuary, her future, and now it was contaminated by lies, deception, and their careless greed. When we confronted my parents the next day, their cold dismissal was chilling. They couldn't grasp the damage they caused, or worse, they didn't care. My mother's weary defense, "It's just a job for her. It's her son," felt like a slap worse than any I had ever received. I stepped forward, voice icy. "This job is her future, and you've jeopardized it. Do you understand what you've done?" No apology came. Later that night, Emma's recorded proof played back on my phone, my parents' voices candid and damning. It was undeniable. They had crossed a line, one that no family should ever cross. Days later, the consequences struck swiftly. Emma was arrested for violating her restraining order, a result of her ex finding her due to the leaked address from that confidential file our parents had helped expose. But Emma didn't back down. She reported the breach, and her firm launched an investigation that uncovered the truth. Her professional reputation, though bruised, was saved through her courage and integrity. My parents? They were branded hostile third parties in the legal records. No visitation rights, no contact, no second chances. Their attempts to manipulate and control had backfired spectacularly. Since then, I've kept my distance. I sent one message before, blocking their numbers. "Don't ever contact my daughter again. You've lost that right. What they wanted was control. Access to my daughter, to me, to our family. They had it, until Emma found the truth hidden under a table. Now, it's over. We guard our borders fiercely. We protect what's ours. The trust, the love, the fragile bonds we rebuild on our own terms, and no shadow of betrayal will break us again. Story." I texted, "My son is in the emergency room." My wife replied, "I'm busy with my parents. We are having a barbecue party." Then my mother-in-law insulted my son, so I canceled their mortgage payments, car loan, and all their credit cards. Chapter 1. Sirens and Silence. It was a Saturday afternoon when my phone rang, shrieking through the kitchen like a warning bell. I dropped the kitchen towel and grabbed it. It was the school, and their first words made my stomach drop. "Your son collapsed during PE class. He's on the way to County General in an ambulance." Everything else was a blur. I rushed out of the house, heart pounding, engine roaring. My fingers trembled as I texted my wife on the way. "Our son is in the ER. I'm heading there now." Her response came 2 minutes later. "I'm busy with my parents. We're having a barbecue party. Can't leave right now." No follow-up, no questions, just silence. I stared at the message. For a second, I thought I'd hallucinated it. My wife, his mother, knew her son was in the emergency room, and her priority was ribs and wine coolers. I arrived at the hospital. I found my son lying pale under fluorescent lights, an oxygen tube hooked to his nose. The doctor said it was a severe asthma attack made worse by heat and dust. They stabilized him quickly, but warned he'd need to rest and be monitored closely. I held his hand. "You're okay now, buddy. Dad's here." He smiled faintly. "Where's Mom?" I couldn't answer, but I knew one thing. I would never forget this moment, and neither would she. Chapter 2. The barbecue texts. By the time my son was resting comfortably and out of danger, it was well past 9 p.m. I sat alone in the hospital cafeteria, sipping burnt coffee, still trying to process everything. My wife, Emma, hadn't shown up. Not a single call, not even a second message. I checked my phone again. Still nothing. Out of anger and disbelief, I scrolled through her social media. She had posted 6 Instagram stories that afternoon. Pictures of steak sizzling on a grill, margaritas in hand, her dad playing horseshoes in the backyard. One post was captioned, "Family over everything, family over everything." The irony hit me like a punch to the chest. Then came the final straw, an accidental open mic moment. One of the videos had background audio. Her mother, Patricia, my mother-in-law, could be heard laughing and saying, "That boy is always getting sick." Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just for attention. Weak kid, just like his father. I replayed it 3 times. The insult didn't just burn. It ignited something in me. I'd paid off their mortgage. I bought her dad that truck he always bragged about, their credit cards, their insurance. I handled it all. And in return, they mocked my son, my sick son. I didn't explode. I didn't scream. I simply pulled out my laptop, connected to the hospital, Wi-Fi logged into every account I managed for them, and began quietly unraveling their world. Chapter 3. Quiet cancellation. Click, click, click. Each cancellation was more satisfying than the last. I started with the obvious. First, their mortgage. I'd co-signed the house for them 5 years ago, setting up auto-pay from my business account. A few keystrokes later, I removed the authorization. Second, their car loan, a silver Lexus SUV they paraded around town in. Monthly payments gone. The bank would contact them within a week. With a few missed payments, it would be repossessed quietly. Third, their credit cards. All 3 were tied to my master account. I didn't just freeze them, I revoked them, triggering instant deactivation. Then came the subtle part. Insurance, health, dental, even their luxury life insurance plan that I generously paid for as a family gift. Gone. I had no legal obligation to continue funding it. The moment I canceled, an automated notice would arrive in their inbox the next morning. But I wasn't finished. Emma's phone was still on my plan. Her data cut, her device access removed, her Apple ID password changed. She'd still be able to scroll Instagram until the signal died mid-selfie. By midnight, I had a draft saved. A calm, detailed letter, not to them, to Emma's younger brother, Andrew. He had always respected me, had defended me when his mother spat venom. I typed, "Dear Andrew, I wanted you to know why I had to distance myself. This isn't about revenge, it's about respect. I've always treated your family as my own. But after what was said about my son during a medical emergency, I can't continue to support people who treat illness like a joke. I hope one day you'll understand." Then I closed my laptop. That night, as my son slept peacefully beside me in his hospital bed, I realized something important. I wasn't just cutting them off financially. I was freeing myself emotionally. But they wouldn't feel that freedom just yet. They'd feel the consequences first. Chapter 4. The Panic Parade. The next morning began quietly on my end, at least. I grabbed coffee from the hospital cafeteria, returned to my son's room, and sat by his bedside. His fever had broken. His breathing had steadied. The doctor assured me he'd be fine with rest and observation. My phone, however, was anything but calm. 7:18 a.m. Emma called. I didn't answer. 7:19 a.m. Her father called. Declined. 7:22 a.m. Mortgage payment failed. Notification hit their email. Inbox. 7:23 a.m. Emma again. Voicemail left. I didn't bother to check. 7:27 a.m. Her mother messaged, "Did you cancel the credit cards? We're at the grocery store." And they all declined. I took another sip of my coffee, smiled. By 8:00 a.m., the group chat I'd long been a part of titled Family First erupted into digital chaos. "Emma, what the hell did you do? Are you insane? You're ruining everything." Her father, "You've always been overly emotional. This is taking it too far. Grow up." Her mother, "You ungrateful little man. We took you in like family." I waited 10 minutes, then calmly typed, "My son was in the ER. You were throwing a barbecue. And your wife?" "My wife. Couldn't even show up. You showed me exactly what family means to you. So now I'm showing you what I no longer owe." Send. It felt like exhaling a decade of swallowed pride. Later that afternoon, a nurse tapped my shoulder. "There's a woman in the waiting area asking to see you," she said. "Emma." I walked out to find her, hair a mess, makeup running, phone in one hand, car keys in the other. She looked furious and shaken. "Are you seriously doing this?" she hissed, stepping closer. "You can't just cut off everything without warning." I looked her dead in the eye. "Funny. That's what I thought when you ignored my call from the emergency room." She opened her mouth, closed it again, then tried a softer tone. "Look, let's talk. We can fix this. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe my parents." I raised a hand. "Emma, this isn't about punishment. This is about protection. I'm protecting my son from people who don't care about him. That includes you." Her mouth twitched. Her grip on the keys tightened. "You'll regret this." I took a slow breath. "No, you will. When the bank repossesses your car, when the house goes into foreclosure, when you realize all your security was built on someone you treated like an afterthought." She turned and stormed off. No dramatic last word, no fake tears, just silence. And I knew then the message had finally landed. Chapter 5. The collapse begins. 2 days passed. The hospital discharged my son with a clean bill of health, a few prescriptions, and strict orders for rest. I took him home, not to the house Emma and I shared, but to my new apartment, already fully furnished. I'd moved fast, anticipating what was coming. Emma, meanwhile, had spiraled. The first crack came when her car was repossessed at her workplace. According to a friend of hers who didn't know we were no longer speaking, Emma burst into tears in the parking lot as the repo agent towed off the sleek white SUV she was so proud of. I watched the video later. A coworker filmed it, not out of cruelty but stunned disbelief. The second crack came when her parents called me from a different number. Emma's father's voice was oddly humble this time. "We'd like to speak to you, Manto Man." I remained quiet. "Listen, maybe we said some things we shouldn't have. Emotions ran high, but cutting off the mortgage, the cards, that's going to destroy our credit," I finally replied. "Then maybe next time your daughter tells you my son's in the ER, you won't." "Grill steaks and call him a burden." He sighed. "What do you want?" That was the moment. I had no intention of dragging this out. I didn't want vengeance to become my identity, but I wasn't going to walk away without drawing a clear line. "I want you to understand what it feels like when you're treated as disposable." I said, "I want your daughter to stop seeing people as wallets or servants, and most of all, I want my son to know his father stood up for him." He didn't respond, just hung up. Later that night, Emma finally showed up at the new apartment. She looked like she hadn't slept. Her voice was no longer sharp. It cracked. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "For what?" I asked. "For not coming when you called, for letting them say those things, for making you feel alone." I believed parts of it, but I also saw the truth in her eyes. She wasn't sorry for what she did. She was sorry for what she lost. Her gaze flicked toward our son, who was curled up on the couch with his blanket and juice box watching cartoons. "Can I stay? Just to be near him?" she asked. I didn't answer. I just opened the door behind me and nodded toward it. "Parenting, Emma. Nothing more. You'll see him Saturday. Don't be late." She paused, stunned, then left quietly, respectfully. That was the moment I knew the cycle had broken. Epilogue. The new blueprint. 6 months later, the rhythm of life had changed. My son was thriving, doing better in school, smiling more, sleeping peacefully. No more late-night arguments, no more being forgotten. I made sure he knew every single day how much he was loved, that he mattered. Emma and I communicated strictly through a co-parenting app. Pickups, drop-offs, no emotion, no games. Her tone changed. She was more careful now, even polite. Her father eventually took a job at a smaller firm after defaulting on some loans. They moved to a modest rental house and sold the family car. Their barbecue parties stopped. One day my son looked up at me while we were building a Lego spaceship. "Dad, I'm glad it's just us sometimes." I looked at him, heartful. "Me too, buddy. I never sought to ruin lives. I only wanted to protect the one life that mattered most, my son's." I didn't need applause or revenge songs. I just needed peace. And finally, I had it. Was this revenge perfectly justified? Tell us what you would have done in the comments below. Like the story. Share it with someone who needs this energy. And subscribe to Revenge Exposed for more jaw-dropping tales of betrayal and justice. Because here, every lie has its reckoning and every betrayal finds its shadow. Stay sharp, stay strong, and stay tuned.